नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय नमः देवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय देवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। ॐ शिवाय।
Namaste to everyone. Trust all of you had a good, uplifting 2 days of celebrating Mahashivaratri. The chantings by Sai Prasad with the visuals has set the tone for today's program. Thank you, Sai. Sai Prasad is a grade 9 student at Woodlands Higher Secondary School, and he attends the Veda classes conducted by Sri Balakrishna Shastrigal and learns music at Ghana Varshini. Welcome to the third session of the wellness program organized by SVBF. It has been programmed today in continuation of the themes chosen for the wellness series. With that brief introduction, I move on to the things that I would like to say as housekeeping for the audience who are joining this for the very first time. Please do keep your microphones muted at all times. During the interactive sessions, if you feel to express what you are going through, you can feel free to type in the chat box on the screen. In the last session, we covered some aspects of intergenerational programs, its benefits, and heard individual experiences with music from different age groups. Today, we have a variety of segments which includes Carnatic and Hindustani music presentations. We begin with a presentation to get an understanding of how music therapy originated. Let us hear my music student, Arya, who is a second-year student at McMaster University. She is studying life sciences and has Introduction to Music Therapy as one of her subjects this semester. What a happy coincidence. Arya is a talented music student who has given her debut performance at Ghana Varshini in the year 2018. She plays the Western violin as well. And over the years, Arya has performed at various cultural organizations and temples across the GTA. Over to you, Arya.
Thank you, Auntie. Let me just share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen? Perfect. All right. Namaste and a good evening to all. My name is Arya Ravi, and I am a second-year student in the Honors Life Sciences program at McMaster University. I thank my guru Sandhya Auntie for giving me the opportunity to present to you about music therapy around the world and how music has changed and evolved through a certain period of time. I also thank the SVBF and the Wellness Event for Seniors as well for giving me this amazing opportunity. All the information on the next couple of slides has been obtained from a music therapy course, as Sandhya Auntie mentioned, that I'm taking in university currently. So let's get started. So when was the concept of music therapy first cited? The answer is, well, over 40,000 years ago. Before human civilizations existed, music was seen as a supernatural force that affected physical and emotional well-being. Unfortunately, there is not proper documented proof of this concept due to the time and age that these thoughts were provoked. As you can see on the image to the right, this is a didgeridoo, an instrument that was played by the indigenous people of Australia about 30,000 years ago. They say that the sounds from the didgeridoo help calm and relax the mind. Now is where we start getting into music being incorporated in human civilizations. The Egyptian civilization, which formed around the year 6000 BC, used music in these special chants to help cure the weak and the sick. They started seeing music as a form of medicine, which we will begin to see as a recurring theme as we move through music history. Then came the ancient Greek civilization, sitting at around 500 years BC. It was thought by many Greek philosophers that music had the power to govern thoughts, emotions, and physical well-being, but specific thoughts on the effects of music differed between different people. For example, it was thought that Aristotle saw music as a form of emotional catharsis, or in other words, a release of all emotions through music. Plato, however, saw music simply as a medicine that can heal the sick and the weak. Ancient Greece also had multiple healing shrines, where specific people were hired to sing hymns for those that were mentally disturbed. You can now see that the uses of music are slowly starting to evolve into something more than just a supernatural power. Now we move into the Middle Ages, which lasted from the years 470 to 1350 AD. Here, famous Roman senator Boethius saw music as something that had the power to degrade or improve human morals. Here, there were certain hymns that were also documented to being used to cure certain unspecified respiratory illnesses. Now is where we go into the Renaissance and the Baroque period, where the concept of and uses of music continue to evolve further and further. During the Renaissance period, which lasted from the years 1300 to 1600, music was being used as a preventative medicine, specifically to help prevent any diseases from entering the body of anyone. At this time as well, multiple epidemics had occurred, including the Black Plague, one of the deadliest epidemics of all time. It was noted that the music was being used here not only for emotional catharsis, but also as a means to help heal the sick. Doesn't all of this sound familiar right now? During the current pandemic, so many wellness programs such as this and other initiatives have emerged. It really does show that music and wellness has really been the key to help regulate our stress levels during this really uncertain time. Then came in the Baroque period, which lasted from the years 1580 to 1750. Here was when there was much more development and research into human anatomy and health. Many books were also beginning to be published at this time, including one book about how music can be related to several different personality traits written by famous author Athanasius Kircher, and another about how music can be used to treat depression by famous author Robert Burton. Now, before I talk briefly about music therapy here in Canada, take a look at how much the concept and uses of music have evolved. It started all the way from music being a supernatural force, and it's now come to books being written about music being used to treat depression. It's really mind-blowing sometimes to think of how much we as humans have evolved in our thought processes and perception of light around us just within 40,000 years, which isn't much to think about. In Canada, music therapy was officially recognized as a profession in the 20th century, with the Canadian Music Therapy Association, or also known as CAMT, forming in 1974. As of now, there are multiple different requirements to become a professional music therapist, which I will definitely get onto another time. In fact, I was recently pleasantly surprised to learn that my guru Sandhya had also conducted a workshop with the Music Therapist Association of Ontario, or also known as the MTEO, which is another very well-established music therapy association in Ontario. And she collaborated with them and with Wilfrid Laurier University to talk about the impact of Carnatic music. Now that I've talked briefly about the history of music therapy around the world, I want to talk about the roles of music in a therapy session. Music can be seen in two ways here: music as therapy and music in therapy. Music as therapy is where music is the primary method or approach used to treat a patient in the therapy session. This can include songwriting, playing an instrument, etc. Here, music has the direct effect in facilitating behavioral, cognitive, motor, and emotional change. Music in therapy is where music is used along with other methods or practices in a therapy session. This can include just listening to music. Here, music has an indirect effect on facilitating behavioral, cognitive, motor, and emotional change, which means that music is not the only or not the main practice used to facilitate the above. Before I conclude, I also want to briefly highlight two important forms of music therapy used predominantly in the Western world. The first one is the Nordoff-Robbins music therapy practice. This type of therapy, founded by both Dr. Nordoff and Robbins, involves both patient and therapist to create or pick the music that will help with personal growth or development of the patient. Due to the versatility of this kind of therapy, it can be used for all different sorts of people, including those that are cognitively challenged, and is especially used a lot for children. It predominantly involves instrument playing and requires no prior musical skills or training. The guided imagery music therapy practice involves the therapist choosing music for the patient that they believe will help stimulate psychological or emotional change in their patient. This method was found by a lady called Helen Bobby. This form of therapy is predominantly used for those undergoing mental health illnesses and is used a lot during psychotherapy. The way it works is that an individual GIM or guided imagery music therapy session involves the client listening to a 30 to 45-minute program of classical music in a relaxed state, eyes closed and lying down. The client's imagery experiences emerge as a manifestation of his or her inner process as this unfolds in response to the music. The therapist or guide's role is to support the unfolding of the imagery in a non-directive way. Clients image in different ways so that the experience is not necessary or just exclusively a visual one. It can involve other modalities such as smell or touch, or be more body-based. The narrative of the imagery may feature interaction with a familiar person as much as it may be more mythic or transpersonal in nature. Although there are multiple other forms of therapy that involve music, remember the concept of music in therapy, which I covered in the previous slide, meaning that the music is not the main course or the main form of therapy that is being used here. These type of therapies include behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and much more. With that, I would like to conclude and thank you all for listening today. I hope that this has given a better insight on the concepts of music and its use in therapy all over the world, besides our native South Asia. Hope everyone sticks around for the rest of the presentations coming up, as they are a true treat for all of us. Thank you.
Very well done, Arya. Yes, indeed, you talked about music, how it has come down the ages in music therapy, and it was very fascinating and interesting, the presentation. As all of you must have sensed, this is a very, very vast subject and a growing field. An appeal to all our young music aspirants here on the call. If you're undecided as to what to pursue in your undergraduate courses or as a graduate degree itself, music therapy could be one of your choices. I'm very happy to introduce a family friend who has been instrumental in ensuring her children are passionate about music, just like herself. Our friend hails from a music lineage in Mysore, and she grew up learning and listening to music. She's very happy to pursue her passion in music and to teach the Narayaniam, Bhagavatam, and verses from the Bhagavad Gita to devoted students. She retired from a 3M company recently, and her retired life is dedicated to learning and teaching the scriptures to interested students. On one of the occasions, I recall seeing beautiful wordings on music at her home during one of my visits many years ago. It had a great impact on me. So as you see it being projected on the screen, I'm just going to read it out to you. Why learn music? Not necessarily because we expect you to major in music, Not necessarily because we expect you to play or sing all your life. Not necessarily so we can relax. Not necessarily so we can have fun, but rather so we will be human. So we will be close to an infinite beyond this world. So we will have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, more good. In short, so we will have more life. Of what value would it be to make a prosperous living unless we know how to live? That is why we learn music. Oh, I did not mention the name of the guest this evening, right? Or have you guessed? Very happy to welcome the mother of talented musicians, Supraja Sridharan and Srinidhi Sridharan. There you go, Mrs. Nirmala. Please.
Thank you, Sandhya. पीताम्बरं करविराजित शङ्खचक्रकौमोदकीं सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि. Namaste and good evening to everyone. Today, I will be sharing my thoughts and reflections on Sangeetam and Shlokam very briefly. Sangeetam is tune or rhythm set to follow a pattern that repeats throughout the duration of the rendering. Sangeetam is sung or rendered through an instrument. Shlokam is words or set of words constructed to communicate a theme. A theme can either be a concept, a principle, thought, guidance, or instruction. Shlokam is recited. Musical tunes and verses have actually been paired together since the beginning of time. Vedas are often rendered in a repeating set of 3 notes. Chanting can be musical by itself, because we can break the component sounds or shabdams into clearly defined and agreed upon swarams. Sangeetam and shlokas each deliver their own value, and how when combined can lead to a larger value is best brought out through examples. Today, I will bring out certain select examples from Narayaniyam and Srimad Bhagavatam. Firstly, I am grateful to my gurus, Srimati Parvati Shankaran from Mumbai and Srimati Girija Ganapati from Toronto, for their able guidance in teaching me devotional songs, Narayaniyam and Srimad Bhagavatam. Sandranandavabodhatmakam anupamidam kaladeshavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनररुपुरुषार्थ आत्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तद्दावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानां तव विलोकनाद कृष्णा गोपिका जनाः प्रमदसङ्कुला कृष्णा पङ्कजे क्षणाः अमृतधारया कृष्णा सम्प्लुता इव स्तिमिततां दधु कृष्णा त्वत्पुरोगताः केशपाशधृतपिञ्चिका वितति सञ्चलनमकरकुण्डलम् हारजालवनमालिका ललितमङ्गरा गगनसौरभम् पीतचेलधृतकाञ्चिकाञ्चितमुदञ्चदं शुमणिनूपुरम् रासकेलिफलिभूषितं तव हि रूपमीश कलयामहे. Did you observe? The chant itself is musical and melodious to our ears and mind, and how it connects to our soul and thus to mindfulness. Try saying this yourself a few times and let it bring blissful moments to you and to people around you. Now, I will first chant and then sing a shlokam from Bhagavatam for you. Shrutva gunana bhuvana sundara shunvatam te nirvishya karna vivarair haratong katapam रूपं दृशां दृशिमतामखिलार्थलाभं त्वय्यच्युता विशति चित्तमपत्रपं मे का त्वा मुकुन्द महती कुलशीलरूप विद्यावयो द्रविणदामभिरात्मतुल्यं धीरापतिं कुलवती न व्रणीत कन्या काले नृसिंह नरलोकमनोभिरामम् श्रुत्वा गुणान् भुवनसुन्दर शृण्वतां तेर्वेश्य कर्ण विवरैः हरतोऽङ्गताभं रूपं दृशां दृशिमताम् अखिलार्थलाभं त्वय्यच्युता विशति चित्तमपत्रपं मे का त्वा मुकुन्द पहति कुलशीलरूप विद्यावयो द्रविणधाम अभिरात्मतुल्यं तीरापतिं कुलवती न व्रणीत कन्या काले नृसिंह नरलोकमनोभिरामम्. Note, when set to tune, the meaning does not change. It preserves the integrity and does not alter the meaning of the shlokam. We have all heard music is divine. True, I think chanting of shlokas to a tune imbibes divinity. Pairing music with verse is simply mindfulness or an awareness that arises because our brains have paid attention to the sounds of the words themselves. We remember words better and they even commit them to memory with greater ease when they are paired with a tune. When shlokas are set to a tune, words are embedded and glued to the tune and forms a pattern the human mind can easily remember. You would have experienced while trying to remember, one would start with the tune first and then the words follow or flow into the tune. The blend of both creates a long-lasting memory and thus mindfulness. It is a fact, while everyone wishes to sing, in their hearts, not all are trained to sing, but all of us can chant, and when chanting is set to a rhythm, it becomes musical to our ears and our mind. Even repeating one word from a shloka can lead to this experience. Narayana, 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 Narayana. It allows every one of us to be a part of this blissful experience and brings joy to ourselves and others around us and makes life richer. In addition, pairing of music with verse serves as a catalyst towards embracing devotion. The musical aspect of a sacred verse is key to allowing one to be close to an infinite beyond this world. I'm reminded of a verse I came across many years ago, which aptly answers why we should pair music with verse. So we will be human. So we will be close to an infinite beyond the world. So we will have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, more good. In short, more life. I will chant the grand last two shlokas of Narayanyam, which is a fitting example to this above verse. Essence of Bhattadri's emotions and love of God summarized in these shlokas, but the grandeur unfolds when a soft tune is added. Yogindranam tvadangeshu adhikasumadhuram muktim bhajam nivaso bhaktanam kamavashat dutarukisalayam nathade padamulam nityam chittastitam me pavanapurapate krishna karunya sindho ritva nisheshatapan परिषतु परमानंद संधोगलक्ष्मीं अज्ञात्वा ते महत्त्वं यदिह निगदितं विश्वनाथ क्षमेथा स्तोत्रं चैतत् श्रोत्रम् अधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् द्वेधा नारायणीयं श्रुतिषु च जनुषा स्तुत्यता वर्णनेन स्फीडं लीलावतारैः इदमिह कुरुताम् आयुरारोग्य सौख्यम्. It is only when you pair these verses with a tune you can feel the impact of Bhattadri's words. This tune allows you to feel empathy towards Bhattadri. Here is an individual who has suffered with a terrible illness and is now pleading with Lord Guruvayurappan to relieve him of this worldly suffering. What do we see here? We see raw human emotions being expressed. Nityam chittastitam me pavanapurapate Krishna karunya sindho. Towards the end of this tune, the notes oscillate, and this is key to letting the meaning of the words sink into the reciter or the listener. You feel the humanity of all the sufferings he has gone through. In the end, he pleads for salvation. This is where humanity connects with divinity. Bhattadri's Narayanyam journey is not only the journey of his soul through the various facets of humanity and divinity. It is a lesson in the journey of all of our souls, told through the pairing of song and verse. To conclude, I would like to thank Srimati Sandhya Srivatsan and Sringeri Vidya Bharati Foundation for this opportunity to contribute and be a part of the Wellness for Seniors initiative. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
That was beautiful with your melodious voice, Nirmala. It was wonderful to get your insights on how the human aspect of chanting or singing has such a deep impact on a person's mind and for a person to heal as well. As you rightly put it, of Sri Narayana Bhattadiri's immense monumental work, it is testament to what Arya said about music therapy. So it's a beautiful way in which you brought out that essence of how much is there in our own scriptures, and we have that in our own Indian traditions and customs. We have music therapy there. And thank you so much for bringing it out so beautifully. Truly appreciate your time and help. Now, on a very different way, we've set the tone for all this, but now we have to test our minds whether we are ready to have some fun and to have some humor also along with it. I'm just changing gears here. So all of you have grammar, and I'm sure you've had fun with grammar. So this is a fun game called Mad Lib. I think I'm echoing. If people can mute themselves, that would be great. Thank you. So I will be asking a few of the volunteers who have enthusiastically agreed to be on this particular game activity to be ready with a noun, a verb, or an adjective. So once you say, I'll call out the names and I'll ask you to say a noun, a verb, or an adjective. And then Vaishnavi and Arya are behind all this. They will bring up the final product and they will show it to you how your words got into that story of that Mad Lib, okay? So first of all, I call upon Mrs. Vimala Jaikumar to say a word which is a noun. Unmute yourself, please.
Happiness.
Happiness?
Yeah.
Okay. Vaishnavi, take note. Next, I call upon Mrs. Gayatri and her mother, Mrs. Rukmini. Please unmute yourselves if you're there on the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, please give us 2 nouns. 2.
Amma is a little bit confused, Sandhya. Can you repeat it?
Can you please give us 2 nouns? Nouns.
Love. Is that a noun?
No, it's a verb. I'm not going to take grammar class here. Okay, what did you have for lunch? A fruit. Tell a name of a fruit.
Amma, tell a fruit name. A fruit name, huh? Papaya.
Papaya, okay. And any other thing?
Banana.
Gayatri? Okay, banana. Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, Mr. Okay, thank you. Mr. Param, I request you to give a verb. A verb, please, Mr. Param.
Sing.
Sing? Okay, sing. Okay, great. Mrs. Brahmani, your turn to give a noun.
Bharat.
Bharat?
Bharat.
It's a proper noun. Can you give me a regular noun, please?
Song.
You live in a?
Can't hear you.
You live in a?
Country.
Okay, country. Okay, fine, country. Next, I call upon Mr. Sridharan to provide a verb.
Bring.
Sing.
Sorry?
Bring. B-R-I-N-G.
Bring. Okay, bring. Okay, thank you. Request Asha and Shrikant, if you are here on the call, please to unmute yourselves. Are you there?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, two nouns, please.
Tyagaraja, Tiruna.
No proper nouns. No proper nouns.
Oh, okay, common nouns. Okay.
Common nouns, yes.
Common nouns. Instrument?
Instrument. And then the next one?
Chennai. No, music. Music.
Music. Okay. Now I request Mr. Krishnaswamy and Shubha Ramesh to give us a noun. One noun, please.
Say. Passe. Passe. Yeah, rhythm seeker.
Tolungo.
Instrument.
Instrument again. Can you give a different noun, uncle?
Different. It's already said. Give another one.
Oh, I think you already.
Yeah, say rhythm. Yeah.
Now, proper noun.
No, just plain noun. Yeah, rhythm.
Mridangam.
No. Mridangam, or do you want to say rhythm, right? Rhythm, melody.
Rhythm. Melody, yes.
Yeah.
Melody.
Melody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then Mrs. Padma Jangamakote, are you there on the call? Please, two verbs.
Played and sang.
Sorry?
Played and sang.
Played and sang.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And one final one from Mrs. Venkatesh. Are you there, Mrs. Venkatesh? Mrs. Venkatesh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello, and you're the last one, but not the least. So tell me a verb, please. Verb.
You said it loud.
Loud. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, are everyone ready? Vaishnavi, are you ready? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I am. Okay. Let me share my screen and show you all what we've all collaboratively
And
made.
you have to read it out so that we can all have fun.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so I'm not sure how many people, I'm sure all of us are familiar with the song Let It Go from the animated movie Frozen. So we took all of your nouns, verbs, adjectives, all of it and put it together into the song lyrics. Let's see what we got here. Okay, the happiness glows white on the papaya tonight, not a banana to be sing, a kingdom of country, and it bring like I'm the instrument. The music is singing like this swirling melody inside. That's actually very beautiful. Couldn't played it in. Toronto knows I sang. Don't let Gubber sing in. Don't let them loud. Well, now they know. I'm not sure what we put together here, but it's beautiful nonetheless.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, for having those fast fingers. And thanks to all the volunteers who volunteered here. So as humor is the best medicine. So I think in these moments, we do need that also. Okay, now we move on to a young, bright musician who has created waves in the GTA and across the globe. Shraddha Ganesh is a young musician from Toronto. She's been learning Carnatic music for the past 18 years from her grandmother, Srimati Parvati Raman and Sri K.N. Sashikiran. She's been performing since childhood. Shraddha has won many awards in her journey thus far and has performed at various locations around the world. She has won prizes and awards such as Sangeet Samrat USA, title winner of TVI's Raga Sangamam Season 2, and was awarded the best voice at the Carnatic Music Idol USA. As part of a South Asian musical band, Agni in Toronto, Shraddha has had the opportunity to perform on various stages across North America. She has also been part of Vijay's TV Super Singers Junior 4 and came up to top 11. She is part of the renowned Berkeley Indian Ensemble, where she has collaborated on unique arrangements of popular songs and had the opportunity to closely work with and perform with many famous musicians such as Zakir Hussain, Shreya Ghosal, Vijay Prakash, Indian Ocean, etc. Shraddha has also released her original music on all streaming platforms. She worked as a film composer for a recently released Tamil short film, Va Sellalam Parande, which has received over 1 million views on YouTube and a great response and appreciation from the audiences. Shraddha is a recent graduate of the prestigious Berklee College of Music in Boston with a Bachelor of Music degree majoring in film scoring, electronic production, and design. She received a Brian Eno Production Award for her academic excellence at Berkeley. Shraddha is currently working in Electronic Arts Ripple Effect Studios as a technical audio artist. So she has been very kind enough to share her video, her experiences through video. Vaishnavi, please.
Namaskaram. I'm Shraddha Ganesh. I'm so happy to be part of today's music and mindfulness session. Many thanks to Sandhya Auntie for bringing me on today, and also to SVVF and Kannada Sangha for bringing about a program like this to talk about music and to talk about how it has an influence on our mental health, on our wellness, and also is a huge healing factor for all of us. When I think about music, music has just been that one phenomena that's been a part of my life ever since I can remember. Music has taught me so many things, even about living life. And one of the major influences in my own musical journey is my first guru, my grandmother, Srimati Parvati Raman. She's an All India Radio A-grade artist, and she is a professional singer and a veena player. When I think about classes with her, the first thing that comes to my mind is how she has a knack of not just teaching the music, but also relating it in living life the right way. And she makes sure that we are imbibed with the discipline of learning the music and how we can use that in anything that we do in our lives. And that's sort of the biggest takeaway that I've gotten so far from her. And when she teaches music, it's not just about the notes, getting the notes right, getting the sangadis right. She adds in the layer of not just lyrical bhava, but also raga bhava. And she does that right at the fundamental stage of learning a kriti or learning a new concept or a new composition, as opposed to just adding the bhava as a layer once you've got the structure intact. That discipline, I use that in my music of any genre and any kind. I only have to thank my grandmother for kind of ingraining that discipline in me. When I think about my favorite raga, the raga that has had the most influence in me when I sing it or when I listen to it, is definitely the raga Riti Gaula. Riti Gaula is one of those ragas that just appeals to anyone. People coming from different walks of life, with varying exposures to music or even classical music. Riti Gaula is one of those ragas that just has that ability to touch your heart, and I'm no exception for that. When I think about Riti Gaula, with my experience with the raga, it gives me a sense of tranquility, a sense of joy. And I think a lot of it I really can't explain with words. It's just something, it's a very blissful experience that I get when I sing this particular raga and also listen to this particular raga. I just like to present this raga with a little bit of Carnatic composition and also some film songs that have been set to the same raga. I'd also like to add that one of my original compositions, Va Sellalam Parande, is also, set. It's based on the raga Riti Gaula. No surprise there. So I'll sing a little bit of that as well at the end. Na 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 मनसि जमानस सम्मोदिनी मनसि जमानस सम्मोदिनी वेन वेन मनविनी विनी नन्नु ब्रोमु वेन वेन मनविनी विनी नन्नु ब्रोमु नि पनि नि सा नि ni sa ga ri sa ni sa ga ga ma ma ga ga ri sa ni sa ga ri ni sa ga ri ni sa ri sa sa ni pa ni sa sa ga ga ma ga ga ri sa ga ga ma ni sa ni sa ga ga ma ni da ma ni sa sa ga ma ga ri ni sa ni da ma ga ri sa ni pa janani ninnu vena சின்ன கண்ணன் அழைக்கிறான் சின்ன கண்ணன் அழைக்கிறான் ராதையை பூங்கோதையை அவள் மனம் கொண்ட ரகசிய ராகத்தை பாடி சின்ன கண்ணன் அழைக்கிறான் சின்ன கண்ணன் அழைக்கிறான் ராதையை பூங்கோதையை அவள் மனம் கொண்ட ரகசிய ராகத்தை பாடி சின்ன கண்ணன் அழைக்கிறான் ಕಳ್ಳಾನಿವನು ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಕಳ್ಳಾನಿವನು ನನ್ನ ಕತ್ತೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟನು ನನ್ನನ್ನೇ ಯಾಮಾರಿಸಿ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇವನು ನಂಗೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇವನು ನನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲೋ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲದವನು பேச எண்ணி சில நாள் அருகில் வருவேன் பின்பு பார்வை போதும் என நான் நினைத்தேன் நகர்ந்தேனே மாற்றி கண்கள் இரண்டான் உன் கண்கள் இரண்டான் என்னை கட்டி இழுத்தாய் போதாதென சின்ன சிரிப்பில் ஒரு கள்ள சிரிப்பில் என்னை தள்ளிவிட்டு மூடி மறைத்தாய் உயிரே அன்பே என்ன முதே நீ எங்கே மறவேன் உனை நானே நொடிகள் நீ எழுதேனோ மனமுனை தேடுதே வந்துனை சேர நான் என்ன செய்வேனோ வாசெல்லாம் பறந்து இந்த உலகை மறக்கலாம் இணைந்து வாசெல்லாம் பறந்து இந்த உலகை மறக்கலாம் இணைந்து Thank you.
Wow, that was so beautifully done, Shraddha. If Priya and Ganesh, the parents of Shraddha, are on the call, please convey our deep felt thanks to Shraddha for putting up this video in such short notice. I could not help smile, but when she sang Janani Ninuvina, a favorite composition of mine, of Sri Subraya Shastri, said to Mr. Chaputalam, the Chittaswaram in the Kirtanam brings out the beauty of Riti Gaula. Thank you. Grandmothers are special, and you're very lucky, Shraddha, and you're blessed to have her as your mentor. Your grandmother, parents, and all of us are very proud of your progress, and we pray that you continue to shine in your musical journey ahead. Priya and Ganesh, please convey all the messages that are pouring in the chat box, and please convey that to her. Earlier, Arya spoke about music therapists in Canada. We do have medical practitioners who incorporate their musical talents during their procedures with the consent of their patients. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Sudha Subbanna. Sudha Subbanna began her dental education in India, graduating in 1992 with a Bachelor of Dental Surgery from Government Dental College in her native town of Bangalore. She secured the first rank in periodontology. She went on to study at the University of Western Ontario and graduated as a Doctor of Dental Surgery. She was awarded the Best Student Award of Excellence. After graduating from Western, Dr. Subbanna completed 1 year of residency at the Department of Pediatric Dentistry at the Hospital of Sick Children, where she developed passion for children's dentistry. With 25 plus years of experience in all areas of dentistry, Dr. Subbanna dedicates her life to learning and updating herself as much as she can. She has worked alongside specialists to gain hands-on experience and has, to her credit, surgical implant mentorship program with Straumann. One of Dr. Subbanna's areas of special interest is dental anxiety. She's been working with patients to reduce their anxiety with a combination of sedation and music therapy. She learns Carnatic classical music and takes an active role in her community. Most of you at Kannada Sangha will know her for sure. Her love for Indian classical music is known by everyone, and she volunteers in music organizations such as Gamaka Kala, Vedike, North America, and Purandara Arts and Cultural Association in Toronto. She established the Mississauga Kannada School in 2011 and conducts free Kannada and Sanketi classes. Namaskara Sudhavare, Tumba Santosha. I should mention that she has had a very long day at work and she's driven all the way from Aurelia just to be in time for this program. Truly appreciate it. Grateful for you for being here. First of all, I would like to ask you, how did you get into the idea of incorporating music in your dentistry practice?
First of all, thank you for the really humbled by the introduction, your kind introduction. So after my graduation in 2001, I went into when I went into sick kids. There we see a different kind of patients, behavior management, medically compromised, and everything. The patients as young as 6-month-old, we have to treat, and so we had to do perform procedures on them. So there we did under tension, a lot of stress, and evening calls, night calls, everything we did, and got a lot of experience. So we tried to get different kinds of distraction, like how to behavior management them. And then after that, when I went into private practice, I continued to see a lot of children. For children, we used to usually show everything and then do it. Then I started telling them stories, and then I sing for them. And then when I got, of course, I love singing anyway. So when I sang for them, I really they started liking it. After a few years of that, one day when I was singing, I think one of the adult patients in the next operatory heard it. And when he was leaving, he said, well, why don't you sing for me next time when you come in, when I come in. And I just laughed. I know he was joking, but I just laughed. And that just gave me a clue. And a few days after that, I had a very anxious adult patient who, we always get wonderful greetings when patients come to visit us. They say, I don't like you. I don't want to be here. And all those things, People, when they come, they say, this is the last place I want to be here. I don't want to be here, but get me out of pain, like that, right? So she was also not wanting to be there, but she had to get the tooth out. So and we had to give the freezing, and she doesn't like needles. And I told her, maybe I'll just maybe I'll sing for you. Maybe it will make you feel better. And I sang, and she felt better. And
What
that's
did
how
you
it
sing
started.
for her, if I may interrupt you?
Sure. This was a lullaby I used to sing, Susmita. Starlight, Star Bright. So I usually sing for, even now I usually sing that song for freezing for everybody.
I see.
So that's the song. Yeah.
And in particular, how did you introduce music to seniors who are your clients? Could you explain?
Yeah. So after after a few years of this singing, and I started singing Carnatic classical music too. During my sessions, treatment sessions for children and everything, and full mouth. I used to do a lot of extractions, and those extraction period requires a lot of anesthesia. Like we have to give local anesthesia as well. And I do a sedation method called conscious sedation with nitrous oxide. So a combination of nitrous oxide and oxygen. We give it to the patient, so they don't usually go to sleep. It just makes them calm down. So I found that when I use the nitrous oxide with oxygen as a conscious sedation technique, along with that, when I sang for them, it felt even much better. They felt very good. They felt like they were in a kind of a dreamland or something. It felt very good to them, and they were very calm, and I could do my procedures very nicely. And it reduced actually the amount of anesthesia, the local anesthetic I could use. For example, there is always, according to the body weight, you can only administer so much of local anesthetic carpules per person per that visit. It also depends on the medical history. So if the patient has hypertension, diabetes, and some other medical disorders or something, you can only use this much. Like that, there are rules to follow. So I felt that this music therapy, along with the conscious sedation, was helping me. So that developed into to seniors as well. They said, because teeth extraction, a lot of seniors would come, so I would do that for them.
Okay. And I remember you mentioning that in one of our conversations that you do, you use music especially for adults who have special needs, children who have become adults, and especially how difficult it is to calm them down. Could you share one episode or one anecdote where you calmed such a patient at your clinic?
Yeah, so I have done a lot of that like that, but one incident that really I remember is because I think it made a big difference. So I had one patient with autism, and he was actually a 21-year-old, but of course had a mind of like 5-year-old. So I had seen him for the exam, and he I sang for him, so we did X-rays and all, but we couldn't do the treatment in the chair. So we had to do anesthesia, general anesthesia for him. So, but even for general anesthesia, to put the general anesthesia IV, the patient has to stay still. And for that, usually they give an intramuscular injection in the beginning, so that the patient goes to sleep a little bit, and then they can do the IV, because getting the IV takes time, as you know. So, so that he's was a very tall built, about 6'1" or something. He was a tall man, and then he heard the anesthetic saying, needle, like IM injection. And the mother was trying to tell him, the anesthetist, that don't say that word, he will go away. So he heard it, and he actually wanted to go away. He did not want to stay in the room. So he went to the door. So at that time, the mother reminded me that, okay, Dr. Subana, why don't you sing for him? You sang for him. He was good at that time. So I held his hands like this, and I looked him in the eye, and I told him, no, you're going to listen to me. I'm going to sing for you, and you just take one step back. So I sang, and he, with each little line, he was closing his eye, going back. Finally sat in the chair, and he got the mask on, and he went to sleep. So I think that's where I think I felt happy that something made a difference today.
So
otherwise,
I'm very happy to hear this, but I think you mentioned repetition during our conversation sometimes. Do you repeat that for such patients?
Yeah, this one I did not repeat, because I was one song, so I was singing that. But usually, yes, I do repeat. So if I start with one song, I say the same thing. For example, my favorite is Varavina. So I sing that. I keep singing the same thing over and over, and the same thing and same thing. The throat, for example, sometimes I sing for 1 hour full. The same thing I sing. So sometimes I take breaths in between, but I think it's like it works like a hypnotic trick, I think, because so many times when we are bored so much, right? I mean, hearing the same thing, we feel like, oh my God, this is like I'm going to close our eyes like that, along with nitrous, or even without the nitrous. Sometimes we feel very good listening to the same thing.
Right. Because I have heard that repetition always helps in calming the mind.
Yes.
During my course of research in music therapy, I've seen that repetition, they say, helps.
Yes.
And that's why initially, those of you who were there from the beginning, I tried to incorporate that as chanting. My student Sai Prasad kept on chanting the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Of course, we are all okay. I mean, but in certain special cases, such as what you mentioned, I think it would be very helpful. Thank you so much.
It's very helpful, Affection.
Yeah. So you wanted to say something? Please complete.
And no, I was just saying that, so sometimes I have noted that if I change the raga or something, it's almost like a little wake up for the patient, like in between. But of course, people get bored hearing the same thing. You know, this doctor sings the same thing all the time. But it's helping the patient. So
as long as your patients are happy with you, I think you should be very happy with yourself as well for incorporating music. And thank you so much for sharing your insight. Next time, people, when you go to your dentist, you're going to ask the dentist to sing for you, I'm sure. Okay. Thank you so much, Sudha.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, if you're waiting for this, I'm sure many of us, and we will be concluding today's program with a wonderful concert and by Mr. Vinayak Hegde and his student Sridhar Madhyastha. So I'm really very delighted to introduce them. Vinayak Hegde started his music in childhood from his father, late Govind Hegde, who was an amateur Yakshagana Bhagavata and drama artist. Vinayak Hegde has a very impressive family lineage who encouraged him in all aspects of Hindustani music. Family guru Sri S.M. Bhatt Katige provided him the basic foundation in Hindustani classical music. His musical interest increased by learning the tabla, harmonium, flute, and the Yakshagana Maddale, Chande at home. Since moving to Toronto in 2004, he continued to hone his music skills under Agra Gharana's Pandit Narendra Dattarji, his elder brother Pandit Parmeshwar Hegde of Kirana Gharana, elder brother Pandit Gopal Krishna Hegde, his sisters and brother-in-law, late Sri Ram Hegde Keramani. Vinayak Hegde has performed vocal concerts in Canada, USA, and India. He has been an active organizer, composer, singer, teacher, all bundled up in one. Many hats he holds. Okay, he wears many hats and has composed, directed, performed for the movie Not Not. He's active in promoting the Yakshagana theatre all over North America. There are many people from Not Not movie who are on the call, by the way, Mr. Vinayak Hegde, so they'll be enjoying your program tonight. We wish his musical organization, Sangeeta Bharati Indian Classical Music, to promote and spread the beautiful form of Hindustani classical music and Yakshagana theatre as well. We wish you all the very best. Sridhara Madhyastha is studying his final year in the Bachelor of Accounting program at Baroque University. He's been learning tabla for over 15 years, first under Sri Vinayak Hegde and later under Sri Soumya Basu. Sridhara has also accompanied Ganavashini events at many instances and organizations. He's accompanied Sri Vinayak Hegde in many concerts in Canada and USA. He also plays the Yakshagana Maddale and performed in US and Canada. Over to you, and I hope all of you will really sit and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you so much. And good evening to you all. Thank you for organizing this wonderful concept of music therapy and mindfulness. Thanks for SVBF and Kannada Sangha too for hosting this. And as you all know, Sandhya ji does it the best for all of us here in this place. And it's wonderful to listen to your series. It's coming up so nicely. Today, I have been asked to present my favorite raga or music, what I like. There are many ragas I like based on the moods, or as you all know, Hindustani classical music, like it's Khayal Gaiki, it's called. So I Bandish, or the Kritis, what we call Bandish, we present it, and then it's Ragdhari music, like based on it's flows with the raga. Most of the creative singing in the raga, and presenting our own manodharma or creativity into the raga every time we present. Also, it's any raga, when we sing or play, we all know that it has a connection to our moods or the feelings, or it evokes or suppresses. It to me, at least being a musician, it does communicate to me in many ways, and it not necessarily be the same message every time, but it's based on the our preoccupied mindset, but it does the effect on the mind for sure. I would like to present Rag Madhumad Sarang, or it's also Madhyamadi Sarang, Sarang family. It's same as Sarang, Brandavani Sarang, but in Brandavani Sarang it has both Nishad or Ni, but in Madhyamadi Sarang or Madhumad Sarang it has only the Komal Nishad. And the Bandish goes Rang De, Rang Rejwa. So Jaise Mori Piya Ki Pagariya, and Rang De Mori Sagar Chuneriya, Mori Piya Ki Pagariya. Very short. The Hindustani bandishes are less is more, this kind of thing. Very less lyrical and more bhava into that, more feelings to that. So the expressions are your own in creativity and the imagination in that. I'll try to sing, and with me, as you said, Shraddha is going to play, accompany on tabla. I'm going to play harmonium myself in between if I can, but yes, I will try to do that when I have to present the next bandish. Thank you. Hope I'm audible. Set to Adha or Tinta 16-beat cycle. Rang re, rang re, rang re, rang re, jalwa rang re, rang re, re jalwa rang re, rang re. पिया की पगरिया जैसे मोरी पिया की पगरिया रंग दे रंग रे जवा रंग दे रंग रे रंग जवा रंग जवा जवा रंग दे रंग रे रंग दे रंग दे जवा रंग रे जवा रंग दे रंग रे रे जवा रंग दे रंग रे जवा रंग दे रंग रे रंग रे जवा Rang de mori sagari, rang de mori sagari chunari, rang de mori sagari chunariya, rang de mori. Rang de mori sagar chunadiya, rang de mori. Mori sagari chunariya, rang de mori sagari chunariya, rang de mori. Sagadi chunariya, rang de mori sagadi chunariya, rang de mori. Ma pa ni sa re ni re sa pa re ma pa re ni sa re pa re ma ni pa pa sa re ni sa pa ni sa, rang de mori sagar chunariya. Rang de mori sagar chunadiya, jaise mori piya ki pagariya, jaise mori पिया की पगरिया, रंग दे जवा, रंग रे जवा, रंग दे रंग रे रंग दे रंग रे रंग दे रंग रे. Tanum tanana dhirana tanum tanana dhirana tanum. In the same raga, I would like to present a tarana which changes the speed and the lay and adds a different element to the raga itself. Tanum tanana dhirana 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 tanum tana tom tana na dhira tana na tom tana na dhira na tana na tom tana na dhira na tana na tom tana na dhira na tana dhira na dhira na dhira tana na dhira na tana na dhira na tana na dhira na tana tana dhira na dhira na tana dhira na dhira na tana dhira na tana dhira na dhira na tana dhira na dhira na tana tana dhira tana dhira na dhira na 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 tano tana dhira na tano tana dhira na tano tana dhira na tano dhira tano dhira tano tana dhira na. Thank you. I would like to sing a Kabir bhajan, which is originally sung by Kumar Gandharvaji. He sang lots of Nirguni bhajans. So this is Nai Aruva Hum Ka Na Bhave. This in this Kabir bhajan, Sant Kabir explains himself as a new bride which is left in the father's house, and then goes like in his mystical way of comparing the separation of the individual from the universal self, like that of a bride from her beloved. He explains that this insatiable thirst comes from the feeling of separation whose root lies in the duality. He then explains that the only person who can help out of this problem is the Guru. So he's trying to basically reach out, but na pavan na pani, nothing is there to convey the message. So in his final parting signature note, Kabira reveals that the way to reach the beloved is not outside but inside, similar to the dreamlike state, so which alone will satisfy the seemingly unending burning thirst. So Nai Haruva Hum Ka Na Bhave. In Deep Shandi, so Raga, it's a mix of Arabi and it's in light classical music. Bit of mixes are there. So नयरुआ 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 हम कानो बाव हम कानो बाव नयरुआ साई की नगारी परम अति सुंदर जहाँ कोई जाया न आवे जहाँ कोई जाया न आवे हाँ जहाँ कोई जाया न आवे चांद सूरज जहाँ पवन न पानी पवन न पानी को संदेश पहुँचावे हाँ को संदेश पहुँचावे दर्द यहाँ साई को सुनावे नयरुआ 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 हम कान भव हम कान भव नयरुआ आगे चलो पंथ नहीं सूझे आगे चलो पंथ आगे चलो पंथ नहीं सूझे पीछे दोष लगावे पीछे दोष लगावे के ही विधि ससुरे जाऊं मोरी सजनी जाऊं मोरी सजनी के ही विधि ससुरे जाऊं मोरी सजनी जाऊं मोरी सजनी बिरहा जोरा जरावे हाँ बिरहा जोरा जरावे विशरस नाच नचावे नयरवा 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 हम कान भव हम कान भव नयरवा बिना सतगुरु अपना नहीं कोई अपना कोई जो यहाँ राह बताव जो यहाँ राह बताव कहता कबीरा सुनो भाई साधो सुनो भाई साधो सपने में प्रीतम आवे हाँ सपने में प्रीतम आवे तपन यहाँ जिया की बुझावे नैहरवा 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 हम काल भव हम काल भव नैहरवा 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 Thank you. So I think I will conclude with that. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. And thank you, Sandhya ji. And thank you, SVBF and Kannada Sangha for organizing such beautiful, enlightening sessions, music sessions, and for all of us.
Thank you. I must thank you, Vinay Kaure and Sridhara. I didn't have the mind to say it's enough. We wanted you to go on for sure. It's a weekday and people have to get back to work and school and college. And so that's the reason I had to say, I'm sorry I had to put that time limit. I'm truly sorry. But you gave a beautiful exposition of your Bandish and the beautiful Kabir Bhajan. So meaningful. As they always say that one lifetime is not enough for music, any form of music to achieve, it's not at all enough. And we are all blessed and truly blessed that SVBF, such an organization, has given us the opportunity to promote music, whether it is Carnatic or Hindustani music. They've always been big pillars of support. Yes. And I'm sure they will continue to support music artists the way they are doing right now. It's our humble effort that we are doing in a small way. And I'm very happy that all of you have appreciated whatever has been happening in these 3 sessions. So one more to go on March 23rd. And with that, we'll be done. And this was only a short week with back-to-back. And I hope all of you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining. And a deep thank you to my students, dear Vaishnavi and Arya, who really have helped me so much so far and will help me on March 23rd as well. Thank you so much and good night, Shubhratri to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mute.